Hello and welcome to this segment of Academic Coaching. I'm Carol Carter and our guest today is Caitlin Phelan. She's a senior in high school and she's getting ready to go off to college next year, and we're going to be discussing how to pay for college. So welcome, Caitlin.
Oh, hi, thanks.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. You have just gone through the application for college process. So catch us up a little bit on where you are and what happened with the schools you applied to and what you ultimately decided to do.
Well, I applied to 6 schools. I chose to do early action towards all of them, just because I wanted to know early.
Yep.
I didn't want that stress, and I've chosen to go to Boston College next year.
Okay, congratulations.
Thanks.
Excellent. So that's the good news is you got into Boston College, and then the tough news is how do you pay for it?
$56,000 a year.
$56,000 a year. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's break that down into the ways that you're considering approaching that. What are some of the things that you're doing to really tackle that in terms of your own, the things that you control, the things that you can apply for? What's your game plan?
Well, we filled out the CSS profile, the FAFSA. We sent in all our 2010 tax returns, and our 2011 ones are ready. And then, we've tried to do the net price calculator. And we know that we can get some financial aid,
Yes.
which is great. And hopefully that's all accurate. And
Yes.
we won't know for sure until probably March.
Yes.
But so we've taken care of all of that, tried to do it all by the priority deadline.
Great.
Yeah.
Good job. And have you had a chance to look into any work study that you might be able to do?
Well, that's part of the FAFSA. They determine whether or not you can
You're
qualify,
eligible.
and the most you can ever qualify for is $2,400 of that. So you work until you've made that, and then you have to quit. But I'll definitely be eligible for that, which is good.
Yeah.
So
You'd be a
that'll
great
definitely
candidate.
help.
Yeah. Well, and you're so resourceful. So what are some of the other things that you're thinking about in terms of your plan to approach, ways to pay for it, and also just your overall attitude? I know you have a very good attitude about the advantages it's going to give you to go to Boston
Right.
College, especially with your master's program. So maybe you can share a little bit about just how you're approaching it, but also your bigger strategy, because your larger strategy spans, 6 to 8 years.
Right. Well, I spend a lot of time, I have some off periods, and I spend time looking for outside scholarships, on FastWeb or
Yes.
scholarship points, whatever I can find.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to get them, but there are so many out there that
There
I think that
are.
if you apply enough times, you'll get one of them.
Well, it is a
So-
numbers game. It's
It
like
is,
anything
for
else.
sure.
And if you're really able to spend some time and dig around, you might even, encounter
find
someone who's
some.
an alum who has a profile just
Right.
like you, and they're able to, put aside money because they want to encourage somebody who reminds them of themselves.
Yeah.
That happens all the time. But I think there's a lot of hidden money
There
and
definitely is.
yeah.
And I have also looked into and told myself that there's probably a better chance that once I get there, there are going to be more opportunities for me, because I think that if I can stay motivated and do really well my first year of college, they're not going to say, please leave if you can't afford
you're
it.
going to be one of the most valued people in the freshman class,
Oh,
for
well,
sure.
thank you.
Yeah.
We'll see. But I think that they legitimately want the people that they accept to go there, and I think that they're going to be helpful. And there's things you can do, like be an RA, and it's Boston. I'm sure that there are plenty of shops I could work at too on weekends.
Yes.
I think that there will be money available, and I think it just comes down to determining whether those loans that I will have to take out are worth it or not. And that was a really big decision in my family, but I wanted to make that decision kind of without knowing exactly the amount that we were going to get, because I didn't want to have my hopes up and then say, and then just go to a school knowing that I had to go there. So
Yeah.
I would rather have said, no, I don't think it's worth it. I'm excited to go to this other school, or
Yeah.
determined that, I really legitimately thought it was worth the risk. And I do think
Yeah.
that in my case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think you have such a clear sense of your abilities and your talents and where they can take you. And you know that even if you have to make some sacrifices for the next 6 or 7 years, you have a plan to do
Mhm.
that. And so that's why I'd love for you to just share with people who are watching what is your plan for the next few years, because you have a real reason why making this decision to go to Boston College and to incur this kind of debt is going to really pay off for you in the long run. And I think it's helpful for students whose vision maybe is shorter term than yours to understand your thought process.
Well, I'm going to major in biology, and I would really like to do research. I don't want to go to med school, but I'd like to do scientific research, and especially in neurobiology, and I'd love to focus on autism.
Yeah.
It's just something that's always really fascinated me, and I've always just really wanted to help, and I think that I'm good at science, and so
Mhm.
that would be a way that I could really help those kids. And I have talked to a couple students. One student I've talked to, her dad is actually working there on a research project about the immune systems of autistic children, which is so interesting. And to me, there's just going to be so many research opportunities there,
Yeah.
even as like an undergrad.
Yeah.
And I think that if I can take advantage of those opportunities
Yeah.
and get into a graduate research program, which is a little bit different than actually going to graduate school and taking classes, and it's usually not as expensive, and sometimes if you do well enough in undergrad it can be paid, so
Right.
fingers crossed. But
I think you have a great shot of getting your graduate school paid for.
thank you.
Yeah.
And I think that even if I couldn't get into one of those right away, I could, or I would have the credentials to be able to get some kind of job
Yes.
and eventually find someone that could potentially pay me or allow me to have that time off to go to graduate school.
Right.
I think, and this is all such a big risk. I mean, there's no guarantee that any of this will happen, but I think that if I keep like a good, optimistic view of it, and if I work hard and know that those loans are at stake for me,
Right.
then I think that I'll be able to do really well in
Yeah.
classes and stuff.
And it'll pay off. And what I know too, Caitlin, is you are someone who's very intentional. You have really good work ethic. And I think when people your age, people of any age for that matter, really have a dream and they are intentional and very conscientious about how they go about it and they work hard, chances are very strong that those things work out for them. And I think you're one of those people, and I really want to commend the faith that you have, because I think it's easy right now for young people to be very daunted by the circumstances in our economy and whatever, but the truth is everyone's situation is personal and your dreams and goals are unique to you, and the extent to which you're really true to those dreams and goals is the extent to which those things are going to happen for you. So
Absolutely.
I think you know your strengths, you know your weaknesses, you know your interests. You're a great writer. You express yourself well. So you have so many of those things going for you. Let me ask this question: when you start out your freshman year, what kinds of networks can you develop that might also help you socially, but could potentially help you get maybe an inside track to some scholarship funds or maybe some alum networks, where if you're able to meet them or work at a hospital, maybe some of them would be able to sponsor you. What is your plan for establishing a real solid base for yourself so that you can tap into some resources that will really help you financially?
I mean, I would definitely like to get there right away and, figure out which professors I like that are teaching in like my biology classes, and definitely talk to them about what research they're doing, because most professors at Boston College are doing research right now on the side, and so talk to them about it and hopefully make a good impression. And then also, I mean, Boston is like the medical capital of the country, so
It is.
I think that, even though I don't want to go to med school, I can still working anywhere that has to do with medicine or science could definitely be
Right.
a great resource and a great network.
Right.
And so I think that even just going to like a hospital in Boston, saying I attend Boston College, this
Yes.
is what I want to do. And even if it's not paid, if they want me to volunteer, like I think that that's just still something you can put on my resume and just
And show
get a
them
great
what you
experience
have.
for them.
Exactly. I think that's the key thing, and sometimes you have to be willing to work for free to show people the amazing skills and
Right.
talents you have, because they may not have an internship or an externship or whatever, but if you're willing to have the wherewithal to say that, you can create a lot of
Yeah.
advantages for yourself.
For
So,
sure.
well, I just want to acknowledge, I think you are an outstanding young person, and we're
you.
really excited you're going off to Boston College, and you have made a big difference here at Lifebound. Caitlin's been our student blogger, and she's just been able to help a lot of high school students this year with her insight, her own experiences, and she's going to be working with some really wonderful other folks this summer before she heads off to Boston. So thanks for taking the time to meet with us today, and also share some of your perspective and your insight on how to tackle some of the financial issues around your education, but more importantly, really share with us your vision for yourself, because it's really a terrific vision, and I know you're going to achieve that and more. So thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us.